Recently, Rory McIlroy has tempered his criticism of LIV Golf after initially emerging as one of the league's harshest critics during its conflict with the PGA Tour. In recent months, Rory McIlroy has chosen to temper his criticism of the LIV Golf setup, but it seems that several other PGA Tour players do not share his view. In the ugly civil war that is professional golf, McIlroy had initially presented himself as one of LIV's harshest critics, swearing allegiance to the PGA Tour. However, with a peace agreement between the two imminent, McIlroy seems eager to put his past grudges behind him going forward. Most recently, the four-time major champion revealed that he felt those who opted to make the Saudi switch should be allowed a route back to the PGA Tour without punishment. Additionally, McIlroy has welcomed the investment of LIV backers, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, PIF, despite previous grievances. Whilst it appears the world number 2 is keen to start building bridges, some of his fellow tour players are not on board. Jordan Spieth asserted during last week's Pebble Beach Pro-Am that the PGA Tour is no longer in need of the Saudi investment following the announcement that Sports Strategic Sports Group, SSG, would invest £2.4 billion, $3 billion, in the circuit's new for-profit organization. Of course, this is different from McIlroy's change of heart, which prompted an hour-long phone conversation between the two about the subject. McIlroy disclosed, "I discussed Spieth's remarks with him. And we had a fairly open conversation. The concern I had was that, as the original investor who had believed that the deal would be completed in July, I would be shocked to hear a board member state that they were no longer necessary. How would they react to that? They continue to sit there with hundreds of billions, if not trillions, of dollars that they intend to invest in sports. Furthermore, I completely understand what Jordan was trying to say and what he was saying. But I suppose I wouldn't have been too thrilled if I had been PIF and I had heard that coming from here the day after we completed this SSG deal." Adam Scott. Spieth is not the only one, though, who disagrees with McIlroy about PIF's potential future investment. Adam Scott stated, as reported by Golf Digest, that "we don't need PIF investment, purely from a financial standpoint." Both Scott and Spieth could play important roles in a proposed merger between the PGA Tour and LIV. The pair are both player directors on the PGA Tour's policy board, who have taken on the role of representing the playing membership in the boardroom. McIlroy too was a part of the select group of players, but opted to give up his role late last year. Justin Thomas. McIlroy's calls for LIV players to return without any consequence has also been questioned by his peers too. Most notably Justin Thomas, who feels the likes of Jonrahm and Brooks Koepka should face some punishment before they are allowed to play PGA Tour golf again. I would say that there's a handful of players on LIV that would make the tour a better place, but I'm definitely not in the agreement that they should just be able to come back that easily, Thomas claimed. "I think there's a lot of us that made sacrifices and were very, whether it's true to our word or what we believe in, or just didn't make that decision, and I totally understand that things are changing and things are getting better. I would have a hard time with it, and I think a lot of guys would have a hard time with it, and I'm sure we don't need to convince you why we would have a hard time with it." Scottie Scheffler. This is an opinion also shared by world number 1 Scottie Scheffler. Whilst McIlroy's peaceful return policy would no doubt be welcomed by those on the LIV circuit, Scheffler believes the decision would not be a popular one among those who remained loyal to the PGA Tour. "You had some guys that left our tour and then sued our tour," Scheffler said this week. "That wasn't really in great taste. Then you had some other guys that just left and they wanted to do something different. Everybody made their own decision, and I have no bad blood towards the guys that left. But a path towards coming back, I think it wouldn't be a very popular decision, I think, if they just came back like nothing ever happened. One man who has been linked heavily with the LIV golf setup since its formation in 2022 is Rickie Fowler, and despite staying relatively neutral in the recent dispute between the two tours, he also disagrees with McIlroy's welcoming back policy. "I'm probably not in the same spot as Rory," Fowler said. "Maybe we started in a similar area, but I think there's been a little roller coaster ride on his part. As far as decisions to go elsewhere and just welcome back, I don't think it's a direct road back to the tour. I mean, they made decisions, and there has to be something for it. Whether how small or big, that's not up to me.